Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. I am absolutely honored and blessed to be able to be here and share this information with you tonight. We've also got Dr. Melody Rodarte, who's going to be on here as well. I want to give you a little background as to my journey with this and my wife, Michelle. We live here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and about 8 years ago, we were introduced to the information that you're going to hear tonight. And it was actually a cardiologist here in Sioux Falls, Dr. Mark Gordon, who's doing the presentation. And I can tell you that information, although I was reluctant to go and hear all about it, it was information that absolutely changed my wife and I's life and in every aspect. And we don't go a day without being very thankful for, first of all, being introduced to the information, but second of all, being open-minded to see where it fit in with our lives. Back then, I was in the corporate world. My wife, she used to be in the mortgage industry. We had an online business, 2 little kids, a lady living with us from Spain that taught at their school. We were the definition of busy. And what I found in life, though, is when you become passionate and excited about something, you find ways to work it into your life. And that's exactly what happened to us. And 9 months later, I was able to walk away from the corporate world because of that. But it really stems back to this 2005 ABC Primetime Investigative Report. And what you're going to see when I show you that is something that even to this day, the average person has no idea that the technology and the research is out there to take care of your health in the way that this video talks about. And the one thing that I really love about this investigative report is when news comes in to do an expose or to do this investigative reporting, do you think that they come in with the intention of everything looking good? You know, I think the obvious answer is they don't. They intend to poke holes into what people are claiming. And then they're chasing the CEO down in the parking lot with a camera crew afterwards. But the reality is, when you watch the video, you're going to see that not only did it turn out exactly like what they were claiming, but it was actually way better. And then we're going to bring you up to speed on where things are today, what's transpired since 2005 and today, and why we're so excited about where this is headed in the future. So I'll play that ABC investigative report. I'll introduce you to Dr. Melody Rodarte, and then I'll wrap it up at the tail end of this. So let me share my screen and get that video going for you.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Can you scoop? Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body.
Leading to disease.
Leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals, Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment.
Doesn't taste bad.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease.
Yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
Dr. James Crapo with the National Jewish Medical Center in Denver is also researching Protandim for the company. But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would. I can't guarantee it's going to extend your life. I can't guarantee it's going to eliminate any diseases or cure any diseases.
But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. And I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old to find out that I should have taken it.
The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe. But because it's being sold as a nutritional supplement and not a drug, Protandim does not need FDA approval for safety.
It's the little yellow pill that scientists say could eliminate chronic diseases and help you live well into your hundreds. Quinones has been taking Protandim for 2 weeks now and tells Extra,
I am sleeping better. I feel a lot better and also energized when I do wake up.
You know, as a patient advocate, I stumbled upon Protandim almost 3 years ago. Someone introduced me to Protandim. I just looked at the research and figured out, hey, wait a minute, I have to take 360 oranges in one day to get the same effect of one pill? So,
antioxidants, okay? These are still good, right?
Oh, not only are they good, but we've breathed a whole new life into this topic. We now know that you can actually boost your own body's defenses without even just taking vitamin C by eating lots of colorful fruits and vegetables. But there's also a new supplement on the market called Protandim that is made from an extract of herbs that actually upregulates and boosts your natural manufacturing of antioxidant enzymes. So this is going to reduce those harmful free radicals, reduce some of that cell damage associated with disease, and this is a double thumbs up.
How do you find the energy to keep doing it night after night? We get a lot of comments. So people have been emailing me and saying they love how you look, like you're ageless. It's incredible. So
I have a secret.
What is your secret?
I have a secret formula, and it's a company called LifeVantage. They came up with a product called Protandim. Now, what causes the aging process is free radicals in our body, oxidative stress.
Mhm.
This Protandim stuff, I've been taking it for 2 years.
We have it on the table right there.
Clinically proven to slow the aging process down. It reduces the oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. So I tested it, and it works. And the nice thing, it's not pharmaceutical. It's real food.
I'm going to have to give it a try.
All right. I love that video, and over the course of the last couple of years, I've probably seen it thousands of times. But it just, every time I see it, it goes back to what we have our hands on is truly unbelievable. And now I want to introduce you to a great friend of ours, Dr. Melody Rodarte. Her and her family, we've been fortunate enough to be able to travel the world with them and share this information. She was actually voted one of the top obesity medicine doctors, you guys, in 2017. Board certified in internal medicine, obesity medicine. She's also certified in hyperbaric medicine, wound care, and aesthetics. She has 2 kids that she's absolutely in love with, twins. They're now 16. A husband who's retired from law enforcement as a detective. They love to travel the world, be with family and friends, and they're super passionate for preventative medicine and doing medical missions throughout the world. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Melody Rodarte.
Thank you for that kind welcome. Let me go ahead and see if I can share my screen. I absolutely love that I can do this webinar with you again. It's been too long for sharing a webinar together. And so just thank you so much for always being there for our family, and you and Michelle are awesome. I love my LifeVantage family, you guys, and hopefully what you're going to take from this today is we are a family, and what we like to do is helping each other with their health. You can kind of see a picture of my family here. We're out of Arizona, and my passion is also with my children, keeping them healthy, because I know what's in our family, and unfortunately we've gotten to see some things early in their childhood that I've been always seeking. How can I help slow down the aging process, not only for me, but how can I slow down the aging process for my children? So as I started my practice, that was something that was important to me. That's why I chose to become a DO, or a doctor of osteopathic medicine, is I wanted to learn how to incorporate Eastern and Western medicine and use my hands. As you can see, I'm already flapping my hands around too. I talk with my hands. But right before kindergarten, my son actually developed an autoimmune disease called alopecia totalis. And I was feeling like, one, a mom who wasn't sure exactly what to do, and 2, a doctor who's a mom, where her son is saying, why can't you fix this all? Why is this happening to me? And so I'm very thankful that someone wanted me to see that ABC Primetime Investigative Report, because I was looking for something that I could do next. We were done with steroids. We were done with, we were doing them topically, injecting them into a scalp. We were doing acid to trick his immune system. So I was really wanting to know what else is there. And I've always done that with my patients too, to go, what else is there? And so tonight, that is something that I want you to take away from this, is see, is this something that you want to incorporate into your life? For the next, my part, kind of 20 minutes, think about the pathways that I'm talking about and think, can I incorporate these? Do I want to incorporate these? Do I want to slow down the aging process? And so, like I do in my practice, I always love education. I think that when you're educated, you can make a great decision for yourself and for your health. And so the first word is biohacking. You might not have heard this term yet, and it's taking a complex system like our body and breaking it down in order to get a desired outcome, good health, right? And what we're trying to do it with is Nutrigenomics, another word that you might not have heard of yet. And it's using nutrition to help gene expression. So if you go all the way back to Hippocrates, he actually got it right so many years ago. We are what we eat. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. And so it is incredibly important these days to know what your nutrition is doing, because it can actually affect your health. And the personalized health market is becoming incredibly big, and I know it's because of how our healthcare system is. If you do not have a great relationship with your physician, I'm going to tell you right now, please find somebody that you can talk to, that it is a two-way communication. It's not just, I'm telling you to do this and that's it. And someone who wants to look up things with you as well and have a team approach. You guys, I myself see an acupuncturist. I see a chiropractor. You know, I'm learning how to do more meditation. I love that we have a neuroscientist that's joined us, and I actually was reading the book. He started doing all the research on the background research, and getting to meet him, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the one that did the research for this book. So have a great team to take care of you. And so here's another great kind of slide, because this is the important part of what you're learning tonight. Do you want your body to be hijacked by what's happening in the environment around you that you might not have control over? Or do you want to biohack your body in order to live your best self? Things that can hijack our bodies are physical stressors, emotional stressors, biochemical items, toxins, whether it's in the food, the air, the water, EMFs, and allergies. I can't even tell you, when I was young, I didn't even know what peanut allergies were, and what we're doing to our food is creating a lot of allergies and intolerances. And so I'd rather biohack my body. I want to take control of it. I want to slow down that aging process. I want my optimal genetic expression. And we know that we can do this through Nutrigenomics. So you might have heard Dr. McCord in that ABC Primetime kind of talking about some of the things that can happen with free radical damage and oxidative stress. So let me break it down just into layman's terms again. Oxidative stress is that natural wear and tear that's happening inside of our bodies, whether it's, you know, we use microwaves, whether we live, like for me here in Arizona, where there's a lot of, you know, sunlight, or you're up north where you might have not as much sunlight, you use gas, you know, pollution, all of those are causing us to age, and it's that browning from the inside out. Well, if we want to take it down to the cellular level with what's happening, it's affecting that cell, and the cell makes up a tissue, the tissue makes up an organ, and the organ makes up our body. And depending on how your genes are expressed, it might look like high blood pressure, it might look like heart disease, it might look like kidney disease, it might look like diabetes, or arthritis. And for me, what really stuck out when I was thinking about this is those autoimmune disorders. Oxidative stress is really at that forefront of autoimmune disorders. And once you have one autoimmune disorder, you're more likely to trigger others. The body is just not protecting itself. And so we know the root cause of over 200 diseases is oxidative stress. So how can we reduce oxidative stress? Well, you got to hear one part already with Protandim NRF2. And the neat part is after that ABC Primetime aired, you know, there was a buzz. For me, I thought, oh my gosh, what if? And that's what was happening. $5 million of orders came in. And unfortunately, they were a small little biotech company. They didn't have people to answer the phones. They didn't have a system to get the product out. And Shawn will go over a little bit more of how that business started up later on. But the neat part that you need to know is universities and institutions started to fund their own research. They called the company and they said, can we use Protandim in our studies? And this is a list of some of those major universities. They're not, you know, I went to ASU. I'm super proud I went there, but I would love to hear from Harvard and Johns Hopkins and other major universities. And what struck a chord with me initially when I was looking at Protandim is the Journal of Circulation is put on by the American Heart Association. It is an incredibly incredible journal. It's incredibly hard to get published into. And so I went to a website called PubMed. And for those of you who don't know about PubMed, it's where we go to do our medical research. It's where peer-reviewed articles are in a library that we can do. You don't have to be a physician. Sometimes you want to be a physician reading through these. But when I, 4 years ago, typed in Protandim, there were 16 peer-reviewed articles there. Tonight, if you do it, there are 24 peer-reviewed articles, and there are 3 more if you do an extended recommended search that you can read through. And that just blew my mind, that there was actually peer-reviewed articles for me to research. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see some pharmaceutical companies, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too, but they are in the rat race for making competitive NRF2 activators. So again, I will touch on that in a little bit. And so the difference here on what you're learning tonight is whether you want to supplement or activate. Supplementation has been great till up till now. We want you to eat your green leafy vegetables and your pretty fruits. There are antioxidants in them. They are healthy. As Shawn said, I do obesity medicine. My whole thing is trying to get people to eat better nutrition. But when that happens, you're only neutralizing one free radical at a time. It's one and it's done. When you activate the pathway called NRF2, you are releasing your body's own antioxidants at a rate of 1,000,000 to 1. And that's why it's called activation, and it's not just supplementation. Your body is releasing these beautiful antioxidants called catalase and glutathione and SOD, which stands for superoxide dismutase. You can see that on the bottom of the screen. These are much better than anything that you can ingest or do an IV form of. And so let's just kind of really talk about the nitty-gritty here of Protandim NRF2. It's a combination of 5 herbal ingredients: ashwagandha, bacopa, milk thistle, green tea, turmeric. And this is the only supplement proven in a clinical study to reduce oxidative stress in humans by an average of 40% in 30 days and up to 70% with continued use. That is amazing that we have that study so that we can make that, that claim, and the FDA allows us to do that. And then the NIA, which is the National Institute on Aging, they funded a lifespan, meaning a life extension study. It was at least 10 years for the first part. And Protandim was the only natural product proven to extend lifespan by 7%, which is about 5 years. And really, I want you to hone in on something. Lifespan is good health, okay? Disease span is just keeping you alive with a certain disease. My goal is to be running around with my grandkids and my great-grandkids. That's lifespan, having health and extending life. That's really important to know that. And ingredients that are in Protandim were studied alone. They did not extend lifespan. So it was the combination that was key. And it's because NRF2 is helping our body with our survival genes. That expression is really important. On the bottom, you're seeing a couple seals of approval. It's just saying what's in the bottle is what you are ingesting. For me as a practitioner, that was important. Not only one, giving it to my family, but two, then wanting to recommend it. That BSCG is banned substance control group, and so elite athletes can use this and not worry about doping. So you might be thinking to yourself, does it matter if I'm taking these already? And I'm going to say yes. It is important that you look at this as taking it as a whole pill, a salad in a pill. Taking them by themselves, they're still NRF2 activators, but you can see in that graph, they're very weak NRF2 activators. When you take it as Protandim, you are getting an 18-fold increase. That's 1,800% more effectiveness. And so I don't know about you guys, I'd rather take 1 pill than 5 pills to get an even better result here. And so this is where we're at. This is what Washington State University is saying. NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. There are 2 key words here: therapy and prevention. This pathway is just incredible. If you look up NRF2, it is, and there are an exponential amount of research that is being published right now. It is so incredible. And so I'm excited that you're hearing about it tonight and that you'll know how to activate your NRF2 pathway, and you'll know how to do it in the best way possible right now. And so as that previous slide I was telling you about with pharmaceutical companies coming out, there are 2 drugs on the market. The first one is called Tecfidera, and it was also BG12. You can see there on the slide. And they asked if they could go head-to-head with Protandim. And this is what they wrote in their conclusion. Interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer, and therefore may be this most suited as a therapeutic strategy. You guys, it's incredible they publish this, because if I was part of that pharmaceutical company, I wouldn't want to publish this, just because I would want my newest drug to be better than an herbal supplement, an activator. And so I'm very grateful that it is there for us to share. The second drug on the market is for ALS. So you might know that as Lou Gehrig's disease. That medication is $150,000 a year. Tecfidera is about $50,000 a year. And these, when you're doing it synthetically, I'm going to let you know there are side effects, there are problems, and that's why there are so many drugs that are in phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3 trials. They're having trouble getting them to the market because of the problems with doing it synthetically. So let's just move on for a little bit. Put that NRF2 on the back panel, and I'll bring it back up in a little bit. But what I want to also tell you about is we are at the forefront of helping our mitochondria. And so there's another pathway called the NRF1 pathway, and it is for our mitochondria. We need our mitochondria not only for energy, but to protect our gene. A cell needs to know whether or not it needs to die or repair, and that is the function of the mitochondria. And so we used to just think it was neurologic issues, but now we know it's so much more. About 3 years ago now, I was having to recertify my internal medicine. And it was just incredible that they're talking about cancer being a mitochondrial dysfunction first, not a genetic mutation first. So you guys, you have to protect your mitochondria. It's incredibly important. And so our Protandim NRF1 Synergizer is doing just that. It's helping increase cellular ATP, or energy. It is helping the production of the cell. It is helping the function of the cell. Our mitochondria have a network from head to toe. We need them to be communicating with each other. And we need to slow down that cellular aging by supporting chromosomal integrity. So that's what we can do with our NRF1. Also, our gut, incredibly important. I know some of you guys have heard me talk about probiotics. Ours is just exceptional because of a few items. One is the BioHACK technology. Over 60% make it through the stomach acid and make it to the small and large intestine, where we need those probiotics to digest our food, to synthesize our vitamins, to help metabolism. 80% of our immune system is in our gut, so we need them to make it down there. And then we also need it for neurotransmitters, for happy. If you've ever heard of happy gut, happy brain, our gut has been known as our second brain. We also have Wellmune in there, very well studied, 12 PubMed articles on Wellmune, and it's supporting the tight junctions of our gut, helping our white blood cells. So these two factors, the BioHACK technology and the Wellmune, just make ours just head and shoulders above the rest. Even prescription ones that I've written for, that is just incredible. And so a leaky gut is what you might have been hearing about, where it's a foggy brain, or as well as ADHD and depression, sinus issues. I don't know about you guys, but ask people when they start taking out certain things or when they go on a probiotic, they might not have to take their allergy medication anymore. It's just incredible, as well as joint pain, adrenal pain, colon issues, thyroid, whether or not you take thyroid medication, T4 is converted to T3 in the gut. So we need a healthy gut. And of course, our skin. So important. The other important item is omega-3s. Omega-3s help our cardiovascular, our skin, our immune system. We're learning so much more. And we're learning now about omega-7s. So omega-7s help with our metabolism. So what we've done with LifeVantage is we have taken omega-3, omega-7, and vitamin D and put it into our Omega Plus. The beautiful part about this is you don't have to put it in the freezer because you're worried that you're going to burp up fish oil. It is has no time to become rancid because it is harvested in cold water, either Alaska or Norwegian waters, and there is no time for it to become oxidized. And you can trace it back to the boat where it was harvested. It's sustainable, so incredible. And so you might think, I don't know if I need it. I'm going to tell you, omega-3s, start doing your research. You'll be impressed. And it's because, unfortunately, our diet is full of omega-6s. And so we need that balance in order for our bodies to function adequately. So we have brilliantly put them together as what's called a vitality stack, and you can order it in bottles or in packets. Packets have been a game changer in my household. Let me just tell you, because I can just hand a whole packet instead of having to count the pills for my kids. But we won a Stevie Bronze winner just this past year, and it hadn't even been out as a vitality stack for a year. It's an international award. It's incredible. We are extremely proud of this award. So I'm going to have you take that NRF2 that I told you to put on the back burner, and we're going to bring it up front just to talk about a few other items. So Louisiana State University, if you go back to that PubMed, did 3 journal articles. And it's incredible because it was showing just results with not allowing the P53 gene mutation to happen for melanoma. The cancer cells were not growing like they were supposed to. And so they said, NRF2 needs to be developed where you're putting it on the outside to affect those skin cells. So it's helping from the outside in. And it's formulated for every skin type. That's what I love about this is there's a cleanser, a perfecting lotion that doesn't have any alcohol. So it looks like a toner because it's liquid but no alcohol, an eye serum, and an anti-aging cream. Just incredible. Dr. Natalie Chevreau is world-renowned, was brought over to start developing this, and she is brilliant. She's the mastermind behind a lot of items, and I'm actually very blessed to be on the medical advisory board and just continue to learn from her. So that's our TrueScience. And if you look on to see how clean it is, on I'm totally blanking on the app right now, but it scores like a 0 and a 1, which is the best, like no toxins. We have NRF2 activation for our 4-legged friend. Who doesn't want our 4-legged friends to be, happy? They bring us joy. And it has that NASC seal of approval that vets look for, knowing that it's safe and it's been tested. And what is on the label is actually what our 4-legged friends are ingesting. And it's there was a double-blind placebo study done here in Arizona. So I love that for my vet friends to be able to look through and read through. We have NRF2 activation for our hair. So incredible, so incredible. Again, with that app, you're seeing a 1 or a 2. Again, clean, it's just incredible. If you go and you start putting in some of the things you're using, I know I was floored with some of the items I was thinking were clean for my hair, and it's scoring a 9. I was like, okay, that's going in the garbage. But this is the first skincare. So TrueScience was the first skincare NRF2 activation, and now we have a first hair care system that's NRF2 activated. And so you can see that it's clean, it's mindfully formulated, it's protecting against environmental assaults, and it's improving the shine for fuller and thicker looking hair. So you can see some results there on the right-hand side, just wonderful that we're seeing. I love this too. Our hair is so important, you guys. And I just say that because of what I've been able to see with my son. It's been, 4 years of not needing any steroids. If those of you who want to know more about my story, you can reach out to me, and I can definitely do that with what I've seen in the past 4 years as well. But last but not least is our brain food. I've never done an energy drink in my life. I was always afraid of them. I saw horrible things in the ER with patients using energy drinks. And so I was a little nervous when I heard about this, and I thought, what is this? And it's actually brain food, you guys. That's the biggest difference. NRF2 activation for our brain. It has activated B vitamins that cross the blood-brain barrier. Where there's quercetin, DMAE, L-theanine. These are all nutrients that our brain needs in order to function, to quiet it down and allow it to the synapses to just fire correctly instead of into a broad array. And so one is caffeinated, one is not caffeinated, and it's 100 milligrams of caffeine, all natural. And so you're not getting the jitters, you're not getting the crashes. It doesn't have, all these fake sugars in it. It's naturally sweetened with organic stevia. Big difference there, you guys. And so on the right-hand side, you can see a 9-year-old just being able to activate his NRF2 from the inside with Protandim NRF2 and Axio. And within 2 weeks, just being able to sit down and do his homework. That is an absolute gift. not only for the child, but for the parents, for the teachers, and for him for lifelong, you know? And so this is called Axio, and it has the BSCG seal of approval, so athletes can use this pre and post workout. It's been a game changer for us and our household as well. And so I love research and quotes. And so I'm going to leave you with one quote here by Oregon State University, because it really sums up how incredible NRF2 is. When it finds a problem, NRF2 essentially goes back to the cellular nucleus, rings the alarm bell where it can turn on up to 200 genes that are responsible for cell repair, detoxification of carcinogens, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other actions. In the report, the scientists called it a longevity assurance factor. I love that this was published before the NIA study. So now we have 2 statements talking about it being a longevity assurance factor. And I'm going to leave you with this slide before I turn it over to Shawn, because I love the word on the bottom right here, legacy. I am learning to live a legacy, not leave a legacy. As Shawn had mentioned, we have gotten to retire my husband last year after 20 years in law enforcement. That was my goal when we started this. We were actually looking at franchises that he would be able to run, or a franchise, not franchises, when he would be able to retire, because we just knew at 20 years we wanted to do something else. But this company has been able to give us so much more. One, I love teaching and training other people how to keep their health. And so I've always done lectures on that. And now I'm being able to do this worldwide. 2, we've been able to create our own nonprofit to go in and help the lives of others. And it's because of the platform that LifeVantage has been able to do, where we've been able to dream outside of our box sooner than, you know, when we turn 60 or 70, when it's almost too late. And I love that this company goes out and does things like Project Smile and so much more that you're seeing on this screen. So we are incredibly blessed to be a part of this. And that's why when people ask me, as a physician, why are you looking at this? And this slide sums it all, as well as getting my husband to retire at 20 years and getting to do the next phase of his life. So with that, I will stop sharing and turn it back over to you, Shawn, and just say thank you for sharing tonight with me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Dr. Melody. Again, just always a pleasure to get to do these webinars with you and hear the science from the perspective of somebody who's so highly recognized in your field as a medical professional, because that's completely different than my background. My background is, you guys, in corporate America, the financial world. I got my security licenses after graduate school, got into kind of the corporate ladder, security licenses with Wells Fargo, then with Citigroup. I managed kind of the cash movement of the overall company, and we would move anywhere from $4 billion to $40 billion around the world every single day. And then the last couple of years I was there, I managed the defaulted student loan portfolio. And so I was really accustomed to that employee lifestyle and trading time for money. I was always entrepreneurial, but I also was going down the path of just being that employee. And so I was kind of like you know, you're searching for a franchise or searching for a different vehicle. I was too, and so was Michelle, but we didn't know really what that vehicle was going to be. And when we started hearing about these products and the science, fast forward today compared to where it was in 2011, it even back then was mind-blowing what we had our hands on. And that's why we got so passionate, so excited about this opportunity. And we got into the business not to do a business. We got into the business to educate people on how they could take better care of themselves and improve their overall bodies. And to me, it's an absolute no-brainer, you guys. When you understand the science that Dr. Rodarte was just talking about, you're going to integrate these products into your health strategy. It's just truly, it's more of a matter of how are you going to do it? Are you going to do it as a customer, or are you going to do it as a distributor? And so on the screen right now, I have some of the different ways that you could enter and take these products as a customer. 90% of our business is customer based. And I love that for the simple fact, if you don't see the business vision like we see it, don't do it. Just come in and consume the products. You're going to pay the same price that we do as distributors. And where I would start, if you want to start biohacking your body and getting your body back in balance, doing what it used to do when you were younger, right there in the middle, that vitality stack is really what Melody was highlighting early on. For $5 a day, you guys, you can get those 4 products, the staple, the shelf of our company. And, you know, she went through a lot of the science in detail, but here's what I'll say about this NRF1 product there. It's going to increase the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cells. It's going to increase the health and the quantity. Then you've got the NRF2 product. That's going to take care of the toxic load that our cells are carrying, the garbage. You got the omega. It's going to help, you know, take care of some of the things that we don't necessarily get with our diet. I was doing a meeting with another doctor the other night, and he said he has never tested one of his patients ever that had normal omega levels without any sort of supplementation, you guys, ever. And that's with decades of experience in the medical field. And then the probiotic, you guys. If your gut's not healthy, your overall health is not going to be where you want it to be. Your immune health is not going to be where you want it to be. So for $5 a day, you can grab all of those products and start to change your health. And to me, it's not about the ingredients or the products. It's unlocking the body's own pharmacy, you guys. That's where the power of all of this lies. That's why it can help and have so many different benefits across the board. And I think we're really gravitating to a state of people trying to be more proactive with their health instead of reactive in dealing with with problems as they arise. Now, I said about 90% of our business is customer based, but about 10% of the people, when we talk about this, we want to expose you to the whole package. We want you to understand the business side of it too, just for the simple fact, if that resonates with you, great. And I think the more information you can have, the more empowered you are to make decisions to really impact and change your life. And again, I'm cognizant of the fact that it isn't for everybody, but be open-minded enough to see where this information fits in with you. I want to share with you something that happened to me today. And I was going to the mall to do a couple different things, and I parked next to Macy's. And so I go up to the doors to get into Macy's, and they're locked. They're shut. And I have no idea why at 2 in the afternoon the doors to Macy's are locked, but that's not a good sign. So I've been trying to put a positive spin on everything that happened. So I turn around and I'm like, well, you know, there's a reason I wasn't supposed to go in there. I'll go across to the next big box store in between my car and the next one, and it's Sears. And so I walk over to Sears and I open the doors, and there's about 100 RVs parked inside of Sears. Now, Sears has had some problems, and they're going through, you know, the bankruptcy and restructuring over the last couple of years. But I had no clue that they didn't exist any longer at our mall. And so I'm standing there in the middle of a store that used to be Sears Roebuck, and it's now an RV parking lot. So something's changing in the world, you guys. Something on the business end of things has massively shifted. We're talking about Sears that has been around since 1893, no longer is in existence. I read another article right before this that said there, prior to today, were 2 Blockbuster video chain stores that were still in existence yesterday, and today there's only 1. There's 1 left in Bend, Oregon. And when I think back to when I was in college, like, it was abnormal for somebody to not be walking around with a Blockbuster card in their pocket to rent movies. That's how we rented movies and spent our entertainment times. And so if you could encapsulate and take all that information that we know that has already happened and go back in time, would you make some really different changes in your life? And to me, I absolutely would. If I could have bet against Blockbuster 15 years ago, or I could have told somebody that a place like Radio Shack would no longer exist and I could bet against them, you know, those types of things, they don't happen very often. But if you look at past experience to see where things are going, you can really set yourself up for potential down the road. And so one of the things that I look at is this S-curve. And that's what I have on the screen right now. In any business, I don't care what product or service or industry it is, if it lasts long enough, new products, new technology goes through this S-curve. And at the beginning, not very many people know about it. And then at some point in time, the average person knows about it and goes through this huge growth phase. And then it starts to flatten out and goes through more of that maturity stage. Well, if you want to look at past examples of this, the best example that I can tell you is the iPhone. Now, Apple came out with the iPhone about 10 years ago. And when the first iPhone came out, smartphone technology was not known. Nobody understood the power of having a computer inside of your pocket and how that could impact and change lives. And if you ask around, I do this all the time around the world, if the average person had an iPhone 1, in a room of 100 people, you'll get maybe 1 or 2 people that raise their hand. And I don't know if it's actually true or not, but there's always 1 or 2 people that say, I had the original iPhone. Well, even go to the iPhone 2 and the iPhone 3. That wasn't very many people. It was the gadget person or the person that, you know, was really just cutting edge on technology. It wasn't until really the iPhone 4 that the average person started to adopt that technology. And the iPhone 4, the iPhone 5, the iPhone 6, that's where it hit that momentum phase where 80% of the growth in a company starts to happen, or 80% of that technology starts to be adopted. And then you get to that flattening point. We're 10 years in, we've got the iPhone 8, the iPhone X, you know, and the sales are not where they used to be, and they're starting to actually decline a little bit. So that's a great example of the S-curve. But why is it important for you to know that? Well, everything that Dr. Rodarte talked about tonight, I've been all over the world doing this, you guys. Australia, Canada, Mexico, all over the US. It doesn't matter what place I set foot in. If you ask 100 random people out in the street if they know about NRF2 or they know about NRF1, if they know about these different pathways in the bodies, that would say, yeah, I know all about that. I know about Axio. I know how to feed the brain, things like that. Well, I'll contend in 5 years from now, it's not going to be a matter of if people are upregulating and downregulating genes, it's how they're doing it. Okay, we're not going to have to educate people on the importance of doing it. They're already going to know the importance. It's going to be a matter of what products they're using to actually have this transformation within the body. So that's why I get so excited on the business, because I know where we're sitting, and I know how early on, even 8 years in for me, I know how early on we are with the changes that are happening. So one thing that I had a misconception about when we first got introduced to this was I didn't understand network marketing, and I had a very negative connotation attached to it. I didn't think that there was money to be made, and I didn't think that it was something that people that were real serious business owners did. What I have on the screen right now is an income disclosure summary of our company. The ranks in the company go from Pro 1 to Pro 10. And I used to joke with Michelle that, yeah, hey, if we're going to be successful network marketers, we're going to get a $20 commission check. We'll go get a bottle of wine and a Redbox movie and celebrate. That would be success in this profession. Well, little did I know that there was life-changing money involved in this. But again, we got into this to change people's health and to change them through the products, because we are so in love with what the products could do. And the more people's bodies we got introduced to the products, the more anecdotal evidence we got back that it was doing what they said it was going to do. And so the ranks in the company, you guys, from Pro 1 to Pro 10, if you look at those beginning ranks, Pro 1, 2, 3, to me that's part-time money, $80, $260, $580 a month. Those last 3 years when I managed the litigation and the collection on the defaulted student loan portfolio, I understood that the average bankruptcy in the United States could be avoided with an extra couple $100s a month. To me, that's a crazy statistic, that many people, the difference between them having to file bankruptcy and making it to the next month is a couple extra $100. So don't you think that there's people that are praying tonight to have something in their life change? They maybe still haven't paid their mortgage for the month or their car payments, or they don't know where they're going to get groceries for next week. And I promise you this, if it isn't you, you do have friends and family that will go to bed tonight praying for something to change in their life. Now, as a society, I think we're very open books about the health challenges that we face. Our friends and family are typically pretty aware of what's going on. But the thing we deal with behind closed doors is usually financial, right? Those problems, those stressors. And they can be just as damaging as oxidative stress. I promise you that. I think that you can probably think offhand of people that are so impacted with financial stress that it's doing more damage than anything health related right now in their life. and it's impacting their relationships, it's impacting their health, it's impacting everything within their world. And then you look at the ranks of like Pro 4, Pro 5. To me, that's supplemental income, $1,200, $2,500 a month. You guys, my parents, they're baby boomers. They started working, 30 plus years ago in a world that there was this employer-employee relationship. You work for the same person for 30 or 40 years, and they're going to take care of you during your golden years, during your retirement age, right? There's pensions waiting for you. And what the pension doesn't cover, there's Social Security that's going to cover that. Well, let me ask you this. In 2019, is there more people or less people than 2010 having pensions waiting for them at the end of their years, at the end of their working years? The reality is pensions are disappearing faster than ever, and they're going to continue to disappear. So what are people going to do, right? If they saved enough money, they could live the same lifestyle. But the reality is most Americans live paycheck to paycheck and wouldn't have enough savings to last a year with the same lifestyle they're accustomed to, let alone their entire retirement. So if we can roadmap out for them how to make supplemental income, it might be the difference between them having to continue to work or them being able to actually retire. And then at the ranks of, I think, starting with Pro 5, but Pro 5, 6, and 7, $2,500, $6,000, $11,000 a month, we're starting to replace household incomes, you guys. And that's where we were, Michelle and I. We were desperately wanting me to get out of the corporate environment, but we had to replace that income. We needed a vehicle that would do that. And out of anything that I'm talking about tonight, you guys, one thing that I want you to truly understand and take away is the difference between trading time for money and leveraged or residual income, because it's very, very different. In the corporate world, I showed up and 2 weeks later, I got a check. Show up again and 2 weeks later, I'd get a check. Well, I stopped showing up in January of 2012. Guess what they stopped doing? They stopped sending me checks. But the reality is when you build a residual or leveraged income, you're going to get paid over and over and over again for work you did in the past. We represent an amazing product line of consumable products that people have positive benefits on. So what do? They continue to take them and they continue to tell other people about their experience. And I love that because we truly do get paid for stuff that we did 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. It's amazing. Okay, but the reality is most people don't have any sort of residual or leveraged income. Warren Buffett's famous for saying something along the lines of, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die. Okay, and that's coming from one of the greatest investors, or arguably the greatest investor ever, Warren Buffett. And then you look at the ranks of Pro 8, 9, and 10, you guys, $20,000, $40,000, $100,000 a month. And I'm not talking about those figures to impress you with the dollar amounts. I want you to understand and open up your vision of what this is, what the potential is. You have your hands or you have your mind on a multi-million-dollar business. And I don't know how many opportunities I would have had in my lifetime until I was presented this, that I would have seen that. And so I love the fact that I get to share this business knowledge that I didn't get until I was in my mid-30s. I think it's extremely valuable for people to understand that true difference in what the potential is. And even though I was skeptical about what this was, I was open-minded enough to see where it fit in with our life. And the impact that we have with people, you guys, is not just on the health side. It's not just on the financial side. It's also about personal development. Some of the people that we've partnered with are some of the greatest people in the world that I've ever met. And this is attracting such high quality people that are truly concerned about other people being better. And whatever capacity that is, wherever we can meet them and whatever needs that we can fill. And that's why we work as hard as we do to this day, is because we want to get as many people just to whatever goals that they have and offer them solutions to satisfy what they're missing. And so whatever that is for you, I really want you to ask yourself, what if? What if the information that Dr. Rodarte shared with you on the products is true? What if it's even half true? What about on the business side? Have you ever woke up in your adult life and thought to yourself, I thought things were going to be different? I know that there were times in my life that I did, but I know this. If you don't take the chance, if you don't take the risk and do something different, I promise you several years down the road, you're going to be in the same situation. And so that's what I love about network marketing is we have a packaged solution that can help people. And on the business side, you guys, I'm not going to get into all of the different compensation parts that we have, but the bottom right-hand corner there, the elite bonus pool, I love this because it really breaks down that silo effect. And it also breaks down some of the myths of network marketing that only the people at the top make money. Well, with this part of the compensation plan, remember on that last screen, the ranks went from Pro 1 to Pro 10. When you hit the rank of Pro 7, it's considered our elite ranks. And the company starts taking 4% of the total monthly revenue, and they put it into this category here as far as different shares. And all the Pro 7s, 8, 9s, and 10s share 1% of the total revenue. And it's not profit sharing where they cut out expenses. It's a true revenue sharing program. And then all the 8, 9s, and 10s, they share a 2%. The Pro 9s and 10s share a 3%. And the Pro 10s, globally, you guys, in a $200 million company, share 1%. And why that was so important to me when I started looking at the compensation plan was this, is it didn't matter if I was the very first person or if I had signed up 3 months ago. If I get to those ranks, I start participating in all the work that's ever been done. And it doesn't matter who's in whose group or where the product's going out, right? We're opening up all over the world right now, in Asia and over in Europe. And we're going to continue to open up places like South America, Central America. And it's going to expand in the United States and Canada. And the cool thing is it doesn't matter who's in whose group, right? You can participate in every single order that goes out worldwide in all the lives that we're changing. And on the business side, you guys, there's a couple ways to get started. There's 3 different packs. There's a silver pack, a gold pack, and a platinum pack. $350, $650, $1,250. And the big difference is how much product it comes with and the discount. And what I tell people is get in where you fit in. To me, I would always get in at that top pack because it comes with the most product and it creates the most stories right away by getting this into people's hands, and it comes at the most discounted price. And to me, when Michelle and I joined, we didn't plan on doing the business, but we were thinking about it as we're just prepaying for product that it's a no-brainer we're already going to take. And so even if we don't get off the starting line, we have product that's going to replace the cost of what it took to get started. And I know this. In the business world, you guys, most of the time, the more skin somebody has in the game, the more they treat it like a business. And the reality is with this, it's not just the kit that you get, the business pack that arrives at your doorstep. It's the people that come with it. There's a proven system in place that we know, if followed over the course of time, is going to help somebody have success and get them where they want to get. And I love that. I love that because Michelle and I in 2011, when we first got involved, we didn't have the first idea about network marketing. We didn't understand it. We didn't know it. We didn't have the first idea about nutraceuticals or how upregulating and downregulating genes in the body could work. But the thing of it is we knew this. If somebody else had already proven something to work, we could follow the roadmap that they did and get the same results. And the cool thing is if you have great mentors, you can actually condense the time that it takes to get to where they got because you don't have to make all the mistakes. And unlike the corporate world, you guys, where I was trading that time for money, I had no financial benefit of telling any of my peers why I was successful at doing what I was doing. Because the next raise, the next promotion that would come up, I was leveling the playing field. So they actually paid you more money to keep secrets as to why you were successful. It's crazy. In this type of business model, here's why I'm in love with it, is because our success is directly tied to helping other people be more successful. If we don't help other people, we don't have the success that we want. And it's the same across the board. And that's why the people on here have such care about what they're doing, is the impact. You guys, we've literally impacted tens of thousands of people across the globe. And we're going to continue to do that on a monthly basis. And it's not going to go from tens of thousands and decline. It's going to go from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions. I know what we have our hands on. And I'm rock solid on that. There isn't anything anybody could say to me today that I'm going to be like at the end of the day, oh my gosh, Michelle, you're right. Doesn't work. Products aren't good. Business model doesn't work. I know what we have our hands on. And that's what I love to share with other people, is to educate them on a different way. Let's take care of our bodies. Let's open up that pharmacy and unlock that pharmacy that's inside of our body. But let's also take care of ourselves and take care of our own destiny in the future in the business realm. Let's not rely on building somebody else's dreams when we have the opportunity to build our own dreams. But it's up to us. If you want significant change in your life, you've got to do something different. So you're going to fall into one of three categories, you guys, tonight. You've heard the information. To me, it's a no-brainer. You're going to get involved at least on the product level as a consumer. But it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, just get back with the person that introduced this to you and say, hey, it's not for me. That's great. It's okay. What I would ask you, if something does change in your life, though, get back with the person that introduced this to you first and just let them know, hey, something changed. Or maybe if we come out with new products or new science comes out, maybe every once in a while, every 3 or 4 months, every 5 months, we update you on where the company is. And then if you have questions, let us know what those questions are, because I'll contend all day long that Dr. Melody Rodarte and the American Heart Association is a lot more reliable than a blogger on the internet, okay? So Google's great for some things. It's not the best to research business or science on products. So let us get you to valid resources and get you the right information, whether it's on the products, on the science, if it's on the business. Let us know what those questions are. And then there's the third category. You're ready to get started right away. If you're ready to get started either as a customer or a business builder, let us know. Less than a 5-minute process will get you started. And again, this is a business. If you decide to do the business, you don't do alone. We're here to support you on the journey, give you the tools and resources to have success. So we're excited for everybody and the potential that you have your hands on. This is information, this is education that 8 years ago changed my life. It changed every aspect of it. And I know it changed the Rodarte family as well. If they wouldn't have ever heard this, they would be in a very, very different situation today than they are. And so I love the opportunity that we get and the opportunity tonight to speak to hundreds of people about this and the information that it is. So let us know if there's anything that we can do tonight or in the future to help. We're here to help. I'm a completely open book. I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, but get back with the person that introduced this. We want to thank you so much for your time. We know you could have been doing a lot of other things, but to listen to this information is important to us. And I also want to thank Dr. Melody. Thank you so much for taking time away from your schedule, away from your family to be on as well. So thank you. Have a great night, and let me know how I can help any of you out there. Take care.